This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I am your co-host, Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino.
And I'm your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty. And for this edition of Creator Spotlight, to wrap us up for the series for the year, we're going to be talking about a great partnership that we have with a local convention here in Florida called InfinityCon. And Phil, I'm very excited to talk about this one. This one is a long time coming.
Yeah, I attended this show for the first time in 2024. And through our friend Corey, who is like our anchor being through for a lot of people, and introducing us to so many wonderful people in this convention space here in Florida. And we have been able to help out with InfinityCon at Tallahassee earlier in the year. And we have InfinityCon Gainesville right around the corner. So what better time to bring in the man that puts it all together, doesn't sleep, I believe he's running on multiple days here straight, being awake. David Heringer of InfinityCon. David, it is so good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time. And how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, no, it's good to see you guys. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. Getting, like you said, a lot of moving parts, trying to put things together, a lot of new vision for this year. So it's been good. It's been a long time coming and still a long way to go. But I'm excited to have you guys be a part. So
yeah, 100%. And we are very excited for this conversation to just kind of get an idea of how all of this works. I mean, we've been attending conventions from a fan standpoint for many, many years. And Eric and I have been very fortunate enough over the last few years to kind of get an idea of what goes on behind the scenes and the things that like you wouldn't even think of would become an issue. So very excited to bring this conversation to our audience today. For any brand new or returning listeners, make sure you stick around to the very end of the episode. We'll let you know where you can find everything Wait For It podcast related. But let's jump into it here. David, if you want to just introduce yourself and what you've done, and also a little bit maybe of the history of InfinityCon.
Yeah, like you said, David Heringer. I've been some sort of business pretty much most of my life. I've lived a lot of lives. I was in the band life. I was a frontman for a band, did some singer-songwriter stuff. And through that, right around probably 2010 or 2011, I started working on a concept album. And through the concept album, I wrote the concept. And as I started working on the concept, it was like this nanotechnology future. Gosh, it's been so long since I've thought about it. I'm trying to remember. But it was like indefinite lifespans, and your consciousness could be transported. That's kind of the travel, was through transporting your consciousness through the stars kind of thing. And there were these nanobiotic body kind of things. Anyway, so I was working on these novels and stuff, and while I was working on the music, and then my wife was like, this is good. You enjoy doing this. Like this, it seems like maybe this is what you enjoy doing, the writing side. And begrudgingly, because she knows me, she's my best friend, and she was right. And as I just kind of prayed about it more, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be working on. And then as I kept moving, a friend of mine, I was still kind of in the music scene, and I was working with this event called The Objective up in Nashville. And I've been doing it for years. The event itself was over like 4 different campuses. It was like 4 or 5 days, and it was like 500-600 indie musicians. It was a lot of like, that's where I just cut my teeth on doing events. Like it was everything from the backstage to getting speakers on time, and working with talent that you have to babysit and corral and stay in this spot, this X right here, don't move, but do it nicely, because if not, they don't want to come back. But learning that, and also this is the venue setup, this is what you need for your green room, and really learning all the ins and outs of like event setup and event running. The last few years I was doing that, I started going to MegaCon. So it was back when I believe Christine owned it, original MegaCon days, probably 2011, 2012. I was going with my writing stuff, and I was like, man, just how big everything was, like all the big t-shirt vendors and all the things. It was just like, man, this is so cool. And then I started just getting back to my book. So I was writing, that's why I was there. I was learning about comic book writing, that's where I met Martin Piero. But I was learning about comic book writing and just novels and things like that from different like people and artists and panels. I came back, and my buddy Ray Hancock, who is one of the founders of the event of InfinityCon, he was helping me with the thing and was doing a podcast at the time. And he was like, hey, we were thinking about just doing a meet and greet, but now we would like to do like a mini con in Lake City where we're from. And I'm like, it's too much work. Don't do it. Like, it's cool you want to do it, but I just don't have time. It's a lot of work to run an event. Like, it's just not, it's not something I'm gonna, okay, man, well, that's cool. So fast forward like 6 months later, right end of 2013, early 2014, he was like, hey man, like, things, we need some help. Like, could you help? And I'm like, yeah, because we've been, again, working together. And I'm like, sure. Like, I'll help. And so the first year I helped, and the way people came together, and everything from, I go back to this visual of this 45 50-year-old guy, maybe not even that old. I'm 46. So but there was an older like dude in like a Harry Potter robe, and then there was this probably 7-year-old in a Harry Potter robe. And there was just this moment where it was just like, she's with her parents or whatever, and he's there, and they're like, yeah, like Harry Potter, this is cool. And it was just such a cool like moment of like these families coming together, these people coming together because they love Harry Potter, because they love Dungeons and Dragons, or just because they found out about this and they like any of those things. Like, all these things seem to it just brings us together and kind of crosses all those divides as things divide us. And since then I was hooked. Like 2015, just kind of took it from there, kept trying to grow a venue in Lake City, which we do not have. And after 2 or 3 years of trying to do tents and spending lots and lots of money and trying out lots of things, I went into a few different venues, and then finally did Tallahassee. So that's kind of in a nutshell where things went. Tallahassee has been kind of the anchor event, and now bringing, like you mentioned earlier, bringing Gainesville back, because it's only 30 minutes away. It's really part of my town almost. It's really close to Lake City. So that gives me the chance to bring something back for people in the Lake City area, but to give them a venue that's like worthy of what I want to bring.
Yeah, remember the days where you could just go to a MegaCon and not feel overwhelmed? I remember wide open aisles, Eric. It's like imagining the wide open countryside
Man.
before a bunch of condominiums went up. That's what MegaCon is now. It was like you could walk around freely. It was nice. I remember, Eric, we used to play like we would do scavenger hunts at MegaCon. That's how freely we were able to move around. Those days are long gone.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. It does seem like in Florida, all roads lead back to MegaCon for people's first experience, which actually kind of sets us up nicely for kind of our first question, which may seem simple on the surface, but David, you and me have talked a little bit about how some people have their own idea of what a convention is. That might include celebrity guests and certain things happening at a convention. For others, they have no idea what a convention is. I think we're trying to find what's in the middle of that. So to put it in layman terms, simple terms, for anyone who doesn't know what type of convention InfinityCon is, how would you describe that to somebody who's right there in the middle? They know what a convention is. Maybe they've gone to a MegaCon and that's their only experience. How would you describe your show to that audience?
Yeah, so I'm going to start out with my vision statement, just because that's like it in a nutshell, but it's probably going to need to kind of be unwrapped a little bit. But the vision is to create an ever-expanding immersive universe where fans of all kinds unite to shop, learn, be entertained, and celebrate their passions, inspiring dreamers and creators of all ages to embark on unforgettable adventures together. And I think that's kind of it in a nutshell, like the inspiring dreamers and creators of all ages to embark on unforgettable adventures together. But I think that's kind of the core of where InfinityCon is. You mentioned guests earlier. We do have creator guests. We do have people that, they focus on artists or writing, or their comic book publishers, like my buddy Martin Piero. But, and the cosplayers that are doing these crazy builds and these sets, and those are more of the kind of creators and guests we bring in. Not so much, there's great cons in Florida that do the guest con, you meet your favorite actor and you do the guest thing. That's just not where we fit in. So yeah, we bring entertainment, we bring the inspiration of having our kids areas, having places where anybody of any age can go. And yeah, I've been interested in writing, I've been interested in how do they make that foam look like this? And we've had people come to the show that, are 60, 70, 80-year-old people that are just like, they're just so entranced by like how they do this. So then they'll go sit in some of these panels and just listen. They may never build a cosplay in their whole life, or they may, which would be great. But a lot of them are just so interested in like how these people are making something that this block of foam can become this like power armor, so it's just a super, it's where all these, it's where creators of all ages to embark on unforgettable adventures together. So I think that really is like the heart and the spirit of where InfinityCon is and where it's like continuing to go. I know in our further conversation we'll get more into that, but so that's kind of what it is. Everything from superheroes to Harry Potter to fantasy to gaming to tabletop. We're adding horror elements in there as well, which is something I'm interested in, as you see my Wayland Enterprises cup, or Wayland Yutani Corp. Sorry, bad fan. But yeah, so that's kind of I think I answered that question. Did I answer that question?
You did. Yeah. To kind of add on to that with a secondary question, David, I think it's really cool that you're implementing so many things in general for all ages. Like when you go to conventions, it's kind of assumed that it's always all ages, but that's not always the case. And even in your case, you still introduce things like horror. For me, I have an 11-year-old who's getting into that genre. And the fact that you could do that in such a safe environment is really cool. So when we talk about the all ages aspect, why is that so important to you?
Again, wanting a place where everybody can feel safe to come together. There's always going to be people that may not, just in any realm are going to feel safe there, or feel comfortable. But we want a place where, like I said earlier, the single guy that's 40 years old can come and hang out at the event and have a good time and enjoy it. But also the family of 4 with a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old can also enjoy the event and still find things to do without feeling like they're not safe, but again, things that are just maybe not kid friendly, and there is a line with with the horror side of things. There is some there are some things that I have to play with and juggle a bit just to make sure letting people know, hey, this area may have things that are a little more horror, or may not be suitable for some families or some kids, so trying as we grow that area just to let people know, hey, this area specifically may have some of that. But even when we do like the effects and things like that, so that's kind of where what always fascinated me about horror and horror movies was the effects behind it. And one of my other good friends, Jay Howell, for years we would do this in Lake City, InfinityCon. We would do this event called There Will Be Blood. And we would visqueen the whole stage. We'd put the walls, like we'd have, it looked like Dexter scene. We would have the front 2 rows, like wear parkas. Not parkas, what is it? The ponchos. They would all have ponchos on and over their heads. And he would do this crazy kind of deadpan, like comedy, like he was a mad scientist kind of thing. And he would show like how these different effects would work. And he would mix up the blood and he would give these things and he'd like cut an arm off but everything was like, was more of a teaching and a fun, like it wasn't to the point where it was over the top and meant to like freak people out and scare them. So I think, we would have families in there that just thought it was great. And so, even some of those kind of things we did, it still kind of kept that same feel. And we will have, we have a few games in our showcase this year. We're going to have our theaters set up. We'll have 10-foot screens. We're going to have surround sound. And we have a few of those games that are going to be more, definitely more adult horror. I mean, they're going to have very adult themes, and I would not feel comfortable with kids just walking into those spaces. So we will make sure to have, things on the outside that say, hey, please enter at your own risk. No, there will be intense gore and scenes of whatever, when you come into this, because we do want it to be something where, some kid or family doesn't leave traumatized because they were like, oh, this is a gaming room. And then they walk in and they're like, oh, this is not what we thought it was.
No,
My kids haven't slept in 6 months.
I'm sure it's a delicate balance from getting, doing something like Universal's horror makeup show versus, kids buying a movie ticket for a kid's movie, but walking into Terrifier. There's a huge gap. And I know, Phil, I'm sure that's one of many challenges in just running a convention that is just fascinating.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. That's, those are some of the things that, and some shows are, they're meant to be, they have things that are meant to be more adult based. I mean, for instance, a lot of shows that do focus on guests, they really want, the kids aren't there. The kids may want to come see a specific guest, but that's not their clientele. So they're going after, they need the parents to be there. So they're going to get the 10 and under kids free because they want to, just kind of on the business side of things, because they want to see the parents come and bring their kids, and the kids will have a good time. But it's the parents that will stand in line with the kids for an hour or two waiting on that guest. And so, and I think that's the difference in my show. I try to keep my prices at a good point, but I do charge for kids because I have a full kids area where I do put things specifically for kids. There's Lego builds, there's, story times, there's gaming, and there's things just specifically for like kids that want to come and enjoy that. So yeah, definitely like a little bit of everything. And it is definitely a high wire act. Very, very much so.
Yeah, that perfectly leads into the next question here, because, when people come to a convention, they see all the fun and excitement that we're talking about. They see all the artists and vendors and the different areas and things to do, but they don't see like the months of work that go into making it happen. I mean, we're going from Infinity to Tallahassee, and then like the next week you're immediately planning for Gainesville,
Right.
So what's an aspect of planning a convention that like most attendees would be really surprised to learn that takes so much effort? What's something you learned along the way? Like, man, I didn't think I would spend this much time on this thing or multiple things.
Gosh, it's hard for me because because I was from the event side of things. So like, I know that some of this, but again, fans don't know. I mean, everything from setting up a date for the venue, for instance, in Gainesville, I have to work around football. So UF football, there is no way I will do an event on a football weekend. So nobody would come. Everybody, I am not a sports fan. It's just, I've never really been. My dad wasn't. I've just never been into it. I enjoy watching sometimes, but it's not my thing. But it was very surprising to me how many people in both college towns we're in that are very, very like con people. Like they're Star Wars cosplayers. They're in the 501st. But like when it's game time, like they're gonna have their lightsaber and they're gonna be doing the tomahawk chop. It's like there is no going to a con if a game's on. So it's very interesting. Like I've just never realized that before, that it was so thing. But again, us being a show that focuses on people that don't know as much about shows, that aren't maybe the con crowd usually, definitely want to avoid, games. So yeah, so game, that's something that just, picking dates is hard. And there's also like 100 shows in Florida. So picking around other people's dates, there's probably 25 or 30, in North Florida. So, picking around dates, just planning and laying out vendors, that's one of the hardest parts. Like doing the layout, getting it set, because there's always things that change. The floor plan, with Gainesville, all my power's in the floor. So anything that I need to have powered, I have to rely on my sort of detailed sketches of like, this is the point between here and here. But if my 10 feet is off this much, then this guy may not have gotten the power he needed, and I've got to run a cable across the floor. So it's, there's things like that, like figuring out where the layout's going to be, giving a layout that makes it easy accessible and, makes it to where every area you feel like you can find it well and you want to go and visit each area. Yeah, it's just the planning and putting finances together. I mean, that's, if you're watching this and you go to shows or you're interested in the show, even if it's not my show, please buy a ticket and support it. Like that's, that's a big thing. I know with me, I mean, I wait till the last minute too, so I can't fault people for doing that. But I feel like there's a lot of, the bigger shows, for instance, if it's something, for instance, in Gainesville, there's the Fest. It's a big music show. They have, it's like 7 different stages across Gainesville, and tens of thousands of people. It's wild. But I've gotten to spend some time with those guys. Like, they sell out of their main tickets like in the first hour. So like, that if you're a fan of that show, you have to go do that. I mean, that's the same with some MegaCon tickets and with some of those kind of things. Like if you want a specific ticket or a VIP thing at that price, you got to go buy it then, or you're out, So I think the same thing, with your favorite events, like, please support those, because that's, that money that's coming in, or if the venue's taking the ticketing, that venue is then looking at what's coming in and saying, okay, are they going to pay for the venue? Is it going to be enough? They're going to bring enough tickets in? So it's a big deal for promoters. So that is something I think a lot of attendees just don't realize. Just buying that 1 day or 2 day ticket, or if you're going to do VIP, like, go ahead and pull the trigger if you have the funds. That really goes a long way to helping a promoter to really know, like, hey, I know I have this much, already coming in. And because I'll ask you guys a question. So how many tickets do you think if we bring in 2,000 or 3,000 people, how many tickets do you think I bring in on the Friday day before the event?
So you're saying, like, how many people buy?
Like, how many people buy tickets on that Friday?
On that Friday, out of just say 2,000, I'll say 80%.
Yeah, it's very close. It's half. It's at least half.
Okay.
Wow.
At least half. Okay.
Yeah. So we usually do anywhere from 750, sometimes over, but till 1,000, 1,200 tickets, like, on Friday. So it's like, that's when everybody's getting that final, like, push, and some of that's marketing. That's when they're getting the final push through the marketing channels. They've been reminded and reminded and reminded, and then it's like, they've been like, oh yeah, I want to do that, and then they get busy. Life gets busy. I get that. And so it's that Friday is when everybody's like, oh, it's here, crap, I got to buy my ticket. So everybody's like, I got to do this, because you save money if it's not at the door. You save $5 or $6 if you go ahead and buy it. And so so I think that's all the main things. Scheduling people, scheduling activities, like we do a lot of, like, my vision is for InfinityCon to be more of the thing you're coming to than coming to the guests. Just that's the show I want to put together. So a lot of the things I'm doing, like, I'm, like these showcases I'm doing for the gaming, I'm actually working with some cool developers, and many of them, some of the indie game developers, they're in Sweden, they're in Germany, like they're not going to come to InfinityCon this year. We're not at that point where they're like, hey, we'll be there next month, but I can reach out to them and say, hey, could you be a part of the showcase and help me push that I'm going to do your game, and give me some Steam codes so we can have the attendees play these games. So those are some things that are super cool, but like I'm putting all those things together. So, me and my team are like the ones, I have to have volunteers to run those stations to make sure, those things happen. So again, instead of it's kind of the same side of a different side of the same coin. For those that focus, for the event promoters that focus on guests, they're going to be a lot more, they're going to be running guests around. They're going to be going to, back and forth to hotels. They're going to be getting certain dietary things. I'm going to have to make sure, everything from gaming to kids' Lego activities to this has somebody running it, that it's run well, So it's, there's things on both sides of that. So
yeah, Mayor, we have seen again people putting out fires, and seeing all that stuff happen behind the scenes was totally eye-opening. Who was it we had a couple of months ago on? Oh, it was Bay Doxy, voice actress.
Yeah, that's right.
Where we were talking about, like, now that you've done conventions and she's done a convention as a guest, how do you view them differently? And we certainly have adjusted our viewpoint of conventions and a bigger appreciation of how this all comes together, where it can seem so seamless. It's like the duck right on the top of the water, where everything looks nice and calm, and then underneath, like, those feet are paddling away. So, like, that's what's going on at all times. Probably at any show that you go to. So it was really eye-opening, right, Eric?
Yeah, it was, definitely. And I mean, the thing that makes it all worth it is if the show is a good show, right? And a lot of people are determining, is this going to be a show for me? So I think we've kind of started that conversation to get people to know about InfinityCon. Now, David, one of the things that is important, I think, in that conversation is what makes your convention so different? What makes each convention so different? And I know for InfinityCon, well, there is a lot of vision behind it. In fact, there are several different worlds you can kind of come in and out of that we are looking towards and looking forward to at these type of events. So if we could talk a little bit about some of these worlds, from the Forge to Limitless, the Abyss, the Isle of Wonder, New Renaissance, the Mystic Forest, Technotopia. All of these sound great, but what are they to the average person who's hearing that for the first time?
So as I was saying earlier, I am creating the infinite universe. So I've had this idea for a long time of, people seem to come to my shows and they're looking for something. They're looking to immerse themselves in these worlds. You see these cosplayers that come and just, they have $2,000 into this cosplay plus sometimes, and hours and hours. I mean, I wouldn't even begin to guess. Some of them 600-700 hours, like crazy amount of time into these costumes and these cosplays. And and they go to the shows, and I feel like I want to build a place that is for these creators and these cosplayers, that is kind of, I say worthy, not that these other shows aren't making things worthy, but something that is kind of immersing them into an environment that is a more thematic place, but also immersing the attendees. And so as they come into these areas, you're going to have this market. So we're going to have the infinite market. So these main marketplace where your artists and your vendors, your kind of entryway with, kind of where things are at. And it's going to branch off into these 7 worlds for now. And these worlds could appear and change. Like, that's the cool thing about the concept, is there's a lot of leeway for us to take it in different directions. I am a writer, I'm a creator, and that's kind of where this is the creative baby I've been working on for some time. So as we've worked on these worlds, like you mentioned earlier, so we have the 7 worlds. Each of these worlds is going to have its own theme, own feel. When you look at the Forge, so the Forge is going to be cosplay based. It's going to be, you're going to have these scenes and designs, these set designs. Like we have, the Fallout experience guys and girls that are going to be putting some crazy, like, cool Fallout things, like a full, I think they're doing like a 40 by 60 or something for Gainesville. Like, it's a huge space. You have the 501st, of course, that are Star Wars cosplay group, and I mean and costume group, and they're doing some crazy, them and the Mandalorian mercs. They're doing some great big setups and some things for that. And then you have the cosplayers, our Forge Masters, that are going to be doing the cosplay contest, but also doing panels and events, like talking about foam creation and doing designs in fabric, and working with metal and electronics, and LED lighting in suits, and fans, making sure there's fans so you don't pass out from being in these heavy, huge cosplays that are hot. So that's going to be the Forge, and this is going to be a planet that's been put together by these artisans, basically. And the planet itself and the feel and the look, as we go into this more immersive concept, is there's going to be a gateway, and it's going to be this old, it's going to be the starship that has crashed into the planet, or they have pulled to help create the planet. And that's going to be this gateway that enters you in, as like the engine relic of this starship. And that's going to enter you in, like, to the main area. As we grow, that is not 2025, but that is part of the dream as we move forwards. So, and then we have the Isle of Wonder. That's going to be our kids zone. Working on that being more. We have Lego. We have some like STEM activities, science center kind of stuff going on. We have some interactive games, usually like a Switch, or we have the next like interactive games where the kids can. It's almost like a Connect. Like, kids can actually like use the sensors and they're moving, and like there's a fruit ninja and all that kind of stuff on there. So those are fun. And then we have like superhero story time, or princess story time, or Jedi story time, things like that. And then we do we'll start in that area. We've been doing the instead of a cosplay contest or a costume contest for the kids, we get them all together and we do the InfinityCon cosplay parade. And so we will have the kids do their costumes, and they'll start the Isle of Wonder, and they will actually parade through the whole event and through the whole room. And it's really sweet, and they have a great time. It gives them their chance to really wave at everybody and everybody cheers for them. So that's really fun. So that's in there. We're going to have our horror area, like I mentioned, horror area. And that's called the Abyss. And so that area, it's going to have the special effects. So that's going to be one of the main kind of anchor points of that. So there'll be area doing special effects demos throughout the weekend, teaching how to do different applications, maybe certain body paint for special effects needs and things like that. Applications, and then, so that's going to be a part of it. Then we're going to have several horror games that are in these gaming theaters, which are 10-foot wide screens. They're going to cover, it's going to be like a 10 by 15 foot space where we have surround sound, and you're actually going to be able to go in there and like play these games. Check out some different developers. One of them is a Turkish developer, solo developer. He's doing this whole game on his own. And I actually found out about him through IGN. I was reading like top 20 games to look out for 2025 for horror, and this Horror Tales Eats the World actually pulled up, and I was like, oh, let me check this out. And he's working a full-time gig, not developing games. And when he's not working at his full-time job, he's developing this very photorealistic horror game. We have Repo. The game Repo is going to be showcased in that space. So we're going to have 4 to 6 players on that that will be able to play and have some good fun, some fun cartoony horror, which that's one that's creepy, but it's also, it's unassumingly creepy because you're like, these are kind of silly characters, and you're like, oh, wait, this is kind of creepy. You guys have both played?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you're going to be looking for us over the weekend. Like, has anybody seen Eric and Phil? We're going to be playing Repo.
So the duck? So that know the duck?
We know the duck.
Yeah, we're very
little
aware
asshole.
of the duck.
Yeah. So I finally got to play with my brother. It's the first time I played it, honestly, last Sunday. And he was like, this duck, man, like, just don't do anything to it. Don't hit it. And I'm like, I'm going to see what happens when you mess with the duck. And that was the most bizarre, funny thing ever. I was just like, it just like goes nuts. And so, I was dead like 5 seconds after I got into the game. But yeah, that's going to be super cool. I think that's one that's really hot right now. They're very excited to be a part, and I hope at some point they're developing other games. They've developed several games, I believe, already. So I'm hoping that as they grow Repo, we can have them more of a part. But there's another game from Apogee that is another horror game that we should have on the showcase this year. So those will be some things, some horror vendors potentially in that area, but just really an area where we can have some more horror-based things. And as we grow that area, making it have that creepy feel, the whole entryway and the gateway to that is going to be, where there's voices that whisper as you're walking through the 7 feet entryway, and just like really adding that creep factor that gives you a little bit of those tingles, very, very trying to get it a bit more like, the Halloween Horror Nights kind of feel, to have some fun with it for those that would be interested. Again, keeping it like, hey, enter at your own risk. It may be things that are not suitable for everyone. So, but having some fun with it. So, the new Renaissance. So that's going to be the idea with the new Renaissance was that's going to be that's the art area. So we pulled this out in Tallahassee. One of the things we did this year that I'm just going to add to more this year is having live art going on, like a 10-foot screen, the same way we do with the gaming theaters, where people are watching artists in these theaters like throughout the weekend. Actually just do art. So, having some of our featured creators, but also having artists that are in Artist Alley that are just, great artists that you get to see how each artist does something a little different. We had some artists this year in Tallahassee. I think there were even some that were doing, like working with foam or working with, the different like vinyl or working. So there were some different things that were still art and maybe even a little crafty. But I thought it was cool because it gave some different feels, to that as people were walking by and they could ask them questions. And then those creators can then say, hey, I've got a table, come talk to me more. Let me talk, and hopefully them be able to find something that they like and buy something from their table. So, and make a new fan. So that's going to be one of the aspects, having live art as much as possible in that area. But then also we will have, the base of that's going to be like a panel area that will have, talks about like world building and creating comics. And this year, a friend of mine actually is a ghostwriter for, I don't know if I'm allowed to say some of the things, but some bigger studios, horror studios. I can say that, I think. But she's doing a lot of ghostwriting. Her name's Brandy Berry. And she's a writer and has done some comic books. And she came to Infinity Con 2 years ago in Tallahassee. And we got to talk a little bit and became friends. And she was like starting to tell me that like, oh yeah, well I do some screenwriting, and I'm working with some people, and every once in a while I have to go out to this certain like place, and I meet with the owner of this, and we talk about this thing I'm working on, and I'm like, what? I'm like, for real? She's like, yeah. She's like, I can't, there's some things that I can talk about that were more indie that she's worked on, but it seems like, which makes sense in Hollywood, there's a lot of things that are ghost written, or there's scenes and there's parts that are maybe more suitable for somebody else that they've been close to write. And she's like, yeah, so I've ghost written for several like of the bigger things that, that you would know if I told you, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So she's gonna have a panel about screenwriting and doing that kind of stuff, which I think would be a great thing to have. So those will be the kind of things happening in that area, and of course, some of our featured creators like having their booths and where you can go chat with them and things like that. And then moving on, Limitless. So Limitless is going to be the video game area. It's going to be very, very not steampunk. That steampunk stuck in my head. Cyberpunk, very a little more cyberpunk feeling as we grow out that feel and the kind of feeling of that. Very cyberpunk, very much that feeling. But we're gonna have more of the theaters in that room, so we're gonna have a few. We have the guy. What was the game he did, Eric?
Was it Alpha Response?
Alpha Response. What was the initial original game that the big one that he worked on?
He did Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike. That's right. So yeah, so he's gone out on his own, and he gave us some Steam keys and signed up for the showcase for that room. We have a local Florida group that's coming in that are creating their own game. They're actually based around. I got to talk to them the other day. But there's some cool creators working on a game that's a little retro feel. It seems a little bit Mario feeling, a little bit like Zelda-esque, little bit of a lot of things kind of wrapped up, but it seems like a fun, like one-person game kind of feel, solo player. And so there'll be another solar voltage. They're going to be in one of the setups. So, but that area is going to have, we're going to have a lot of the Gator VR is going to have a VR space there doing VR. We're going to have Gator Gaming and Gator Esports doing a whole area with some esports going on. Some other like free play gaming, the Rhythm Gaming, Urge, UF Rhythm Gaming. They're going to have some rhythm game stuff happening. So a little bit of everything, just anything gaming, video game, VR gaming wise, that'll kind of happen in that area. And then so for the Mystic Forest, that is going to be an area that it's very fantasy based, Mystic Forest. It's at some point, once we have the main gateway built out, that's going to be like you're entering through this like fairy tale like gate, like going into like this village. So it'll look like a little bit old, old fantasy village kind of vibe, and you'll enter into this gateway. I think we're gonna have the top. These are gonna be like 14 foot tall, 14 foot wide, 7 foot deep. So they're gonna be pretty epic. We're gonna have like troll guards, and you'll see in the windows at the top, kind of like walking back and forth, like in the top, and some fun interaction as you walk through. But that area is going to have tabletop gaming. It's going to have our quest givers, Mythic Misadventures guys are going to be there, and girls. They're going to be running some great some quests, so attendees can go and be given quests and go around and find some things and come back and collect for some fun, like little prizes and stuff just to go with the show. That's really fun. We have several LARP and fencing groups even that will be in that space, doing where you can get in and try out some foam sword fighting, as well as like some LARP demos where you're going to get to see the full like kind of setup and some like mini LARP kind of stuff going on, which will be cool. And so those are all actually some local ones that are based in the North Florida, Ocala-ish area, Gainesville. So yeah, so that's going to be the Mystic Four, and then it's going to have tabletop. So last but not least, it'll have tabletop games. We have one local Gainesville that's already signed up for like the tabletop showcase. So he's going to have a space where he's demoing his game. We have a few other people that are supposed to sign up next few weeks, and then we'll have some other just tabletop gaming going on that you would know, that's not more indie games or like somebody's set games. So yeah, so that's Mystic Forest. And then last but not least, we're going to have Technotopia. So this is one that was a little bit later in I think I was talking to you, Eric, today about, it was a little bit later on my vision. Like, I didn't really think about planning on it. But as I've been working more on the show this year and kind of continuing to work the concept and create more is what I'm doing. This is the area we already have like robot fighting in. Which I'm trying to work out and get some form of that in Gainesville this year. The team that we usually use may not be available. But aside from that, one of the things I want, so the whole Technotopia concept is like a World's Fair kind of feel. Like the World's Fairs of past were supposed to be these, I mean, they literally took cities and made these crazy constructions that some of them are still there today, that look like they're from a sci-fi movie. Like they don't look like they belong, and they would spend these millions and millions and millions of dollars refacing a city area to make it look like it was something that was from the future. And then they would bring everybody in and say, hey, this is what GM's car of the future is going to look like, and this is what this robotics company is working on for the Maid of the Future. And so really like kind of taking that concept and bringing that into this Technotopia area. We have, and for Gainesville, as I start to flesh that out more, I have the swamp launch, the rocket launch team at UF is actually going to come in. They're going to have their rocket. It's like 14 foot tall, like pretty cool. They're going to have that at their space. And then they're going to do like some, what they call like water bottle rocket, like activities outside where they actually do like some crazy pressure, like water bottle rockets. And then I'm trying to get them to do a rocket launch. Like I don't know if we're going to be able to get that passed, but I would love for them to do a rocket launch. But yeah, so bringing in those kind of things, that's some of the main stuff happening, like bringing in some more techie stuff that we can put in that area. But things like, Tesla being a smart car / electric car, things that are a bit more futuristic, like those things would really fit that area. And that's, again, not something that I have as fleshed out for Gainesville yet, but as we go into 26 especially, like that'll be more the direction I go. So
yeah, and it's a huge vision, which is why I'm really glad we were able to have the time to kind of talk about all of the things that you're just continuing to build and develop. And that's really been a big calling card for 2025. I know, Phil, that is a lot of stuff to enjoy, and from a pop culture standpoint, I mean, that's just our wet dream. So that's why we love Infinity.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like that phrasing of it.
I'll let you guys have some time by yourself. But no, I was talking to the guy, one of the main guys from the Swamp Launch team. We were having a meeting a few days ago, and as we were talking, I started really realizing that the whole robotics and the Technotopia area really flows so well with what we do, because all of the things we see now, it started with an idea. Somebody was reading a Jules Verne book, and they were like, man, I have this idea from this book. And they started working, there's all these things that started from Star Trek, it's like, I mean, we're literally living in, a world of Star Trek with these phones, it's like, it's crazy to see how, it's not quite what we thought the future was going to be. I mean, we're not Jetsons yet, but, it's really interesting to see how the fantasy and those things, it inspired a different kind of creativity. It wasn't, hey, I'm going to write the next book, fantasy series. It was, how can I make this fantasy real? And so I think that, the robotics and because the robotics has been, the robot fighting has been a huge hit every event, which is because it's super cool. But I think, yeah, like you said, I think it really ties everything together and brings in an aspect and a thing that's not really a part of the convention world. But it fits so well with InfinityCon. So I'm excited to continue to kind of grow that aspect and see where that takes us. So
yeah, and in explaining those worlds, it makes a lot of sense as to why you've had guests like Scott Tepperman from Ghost Hunters, who in Tallahassee, which by the way I had a blast. I was a huge Ghost Hunters fan when I was younger, and still a big paranormal fan as well. It's weird because I love the paranormal, but I don't like scary movies like specifically. It's kind of a weird. I like the like quote unquote real stuff.
Real,
you know?
yeah.
So
sure.
So that makes a lot of sense. Of course, we've got Jessica Kavanaugh through InfinityCon, who is now my voiceover coach. So
I love Jessica. She's so sweet.
Just fantastic. You've had Noise Complaint. You've had so many different types of people here featured at InfinityCon. So we really want to know, what are those fandoms that you enjoy the most? So like when you were going to a MegaCon, what were you looking for? We've already talked about Fallout. We've talked about Star Wars. We talked about different video games. I remember, Eric, one of the funniest things from InfinityCon Tallahassee, amongst all the craziness, again, like you're running around, you're handling so many different things. And I remember one time, Eric, do you remember when Dave was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go try this VR shooting thing"? You ran off to go do that. So you find time to enjoy all the things that you worked so hard to put together. So like, what are those things when you go to a convention, and Lord knows, Eric, when's the last time we got to go to a convention like just for fun? It's been a while, but like, what are those things that you like to look for, and what fandoms really draw you in as just a fan and a nerd?
Yeah. So, I mean, for instance, back in the day, it would have been, when Stan Lee was alive, we got to get a picture with him, which was super cool. I love Stan. I love, reading his stuff. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So, I think that was a cool thing for me. I like flipping through the comics, seeing some different things. I think it's so hard for me as a fan. Like, I think at my show, I can enjoy. I think I'm always like analyzing when I go to shows, so that makes it a little hard for me. But then I also like the horror stuff. So I do. I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. I mean, the shelf above me here has like 2 Ash figures and like 4 Ash pops and like so I really enjoy Bruce Campbell and Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead series, Ash versus Evil Dead. So I enjoy that kind of stuff. If it's a horror game, like last year, I actually didn't get to play this one, but we had and we should have it again this year. We had House of the Dead with light guns on one of the 10-foot screens. And I think this year it's probably going to be on one of my like 60-inch screens or something like that. But that was super cool because it was like, House of the Dead arcade, but just like, 10-foot screen. It was like, that was pretty neat with surround sound. So, but I did get to go play the walkthrough of one of our indie developers had a horror game last year. So I got to go enjoy that. I like VR, I've been in the VR world for a little while, so it's fun to do that. So yeah, I think those are the main things. It's hard because when I do go to shows, when I'm doing stuff, like it's more like my off time that I would enjoy. It's not really at shows because I'm either analyzing it to figure out, do I like this or do I want to do it? Can I do it better? Is that better than what I do it? Or do I want that at all? That kind of stuff. But I think in my own time, I like playing Resident Evil. So I'm still, it probably takes me 150 hours to finish a Resident Evil game anymore. I play for like 3 days after InfinityCon usually, and then I don't play it for like a month, and I'll play like an hour or two. So
yeah, I don't know if you saw this. It's funny you brought up House of the Dead. They're actually releasing House of the Dead 2, the remake, on consoles at the end of the month. I think it was like just recently announced. Ooh. So yeah, I remember House of the Dead was definitely one of those first like arcade games that I remember with the light gun and shoot off screen to reload, and it's a great time. So yeah, that is. It's so funny you mentioned that as far as like when you get to go to a show and you're analyzing it, like, man, do I want to do that? Could that work? Like that's how I am with podcasts as well. As whenever I listen to a podcast, I'm like, I kind of like that idea. Maybe we'll try that. Eric, we're no stranger to stealing ideas from friends' podcasts. We do that quite a bit.
No, I mean, it can only help you get better. You right?
Right. Exactly.
So, David, there's a lot of things in pop culture we've already talked about, and we've really kind of looked backwards. What are you kind of looking at the landscape now as far as either an interest or an interest of your con goers? You obviously have so many people of so many different ages. Like, just kind of looking at the last decade, the last couple of years, what exactly has kind of caught your eye, whether it's something you've actually enjoyed or you've always maybe wanted to check out because you're seeing it pop up in the convention scene or at your convention so often?
So something that I would want to add, or just something
Yeah.
that I'm interested. Okay.
Yeah. Like, for example, the big thing this year is K-pop Demon Hunters. No idea if that's something on your radar, if you want to check it out, if you have seen it. So is there anything under that umbrella that either you want to check out because you see it so often in these circles, or maybe it's something that you did check out because of these circles that you're in all the time?
Sure. I mean, I will definitely say that because of not an anime guy. I like some of it. I'm a robot guy, so I mean, all the Big O and all that kind of stuff was my thing because I love big robots. But yeah, so I haven't been as much into anime, but I kept hearing so much about K-pop Demon Hunter, and I was actually on vacation, and I was like, they actually had a hot tub with a TV next to it. I was like, okay, well, I was flipping through Netflix, the doom scroll. You're like, well, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch this. And I thought it was a series. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch the first episode and see what goes on. And so like, I'm hooked and I'm halfway through it. And I'm like, man, this is a really long episode. And then I like stop it and I'm like, oh, halfway through a 2-hour movie. I'm like, okay, and I'm like, I'm not stopping now. And it was like, as a guy that's not an anime fan, I'm sorry, any of my InfinityCon fans that are listening, it was so much better than it ever deserved to be. I wrote my best friend Martin, and I was like, dude, I'm watching this, and I'm just like, the story is good, the writing is good, the characters are so like, you care about the characters. It's it just hit all the mark. The songs are just, it's like a K-pop musical. Like it's really so freaking well done. I mean, the writing, everything. Like I was just creatively just overstimulated. I was just like, this is so good. So I've enjoyed that. I mean, so kudos to them for that. I mean, I think they spent 7 years making that, like something crazy. So I mean, kudos for them, just to really, you can tell like the time and love and energy that went into that movie. But I don't think I would have watched it except for everybody was like, K-pop Demon Hunters, K-pop Demon Hunters. All the con people and other cons were talking about it. And so, yeah, so that would be one of the things. I will say, kind of going into something that, this immersive thematic thing that I'm going into, I mean, I started seeing back in MegaCon days, there were a lot of these. There was a guy, Cecil Grimes. I think he's still does stuff out there, but looked a lot like Rick Grimes. And that's his cosplay was Cecil Grimes. Always had the Rick going on. And he would do these. He was calling it like set play instead of cosplay. I think he was calling it set play. And he had the full like prison setup, from like a full setup of like The Walking Dead. And it was just so freaking cool. We had him in 2016. It was a great setup. It was super cool to have. And that was the year that this whole thematic kind of, this more theme park-based thing kind of came into being in my mind, because, I saw people, we had Lemmy the Lugabeast that year as well. And I saw people, the $1 Million Man was across from the 501st. Edward James Olmos, was Stand and Deliver, Battlestar Galactica, which was my jam, which is why I wanted him there. He's right. These people are like you could see all of them from there. And people were they were a ghost town at the creators. And, the 501st, it was just photo after photo after photo, and Lemmy and all these things. And people were just so excited to see like this come to life in front of them and be a part of it. And I think it's those same feelings you get, whereas even more so now, like MegaCon is definitely a trade show. It's not as much a, it's you go to see vendors and stand in line for guest autographs, which is just the kind of show it is. That's cool. But it's not really a place where you're going to go see thematic wonder. It's not a place that, they've added some areas that have more of the bigger theme stuff. I think they had like the Falcor and the guy that does some of the Dragon Ball Z, like the egg, what is that?
The pod.
The ship pod thing. Yeah. So there's stuff like that they are bringing in. But again, that's also such a huge space to theme out and thematically design. Like it would just be massive, it can be done, but it'd just be insane. So I think that's where some of those ideas started to really spark. And I was like, I want to bring my own, for lack of a better term, intellectual property, my own creation, these own ideas I have, and theme and have the story that you're entering into InfinityCon. And much like if you guys have done Meow Wolf, if you know anything about Meow Wolf, you have this Meow Wolf's this like artistic interactive exhibit where these artists have just created this whole world and story, and you can choose to interact with the story and watch the story and do all these things that drive you further into the story, or you can just go in and wander around and enjoy the art and the crazy world that's being built. So that would be my goal. Like and I want to build that kind of world that all of the stuff from a convention lives in. It has the artists, it has the vendors, it has, it has these things, but you're able to enjoy like the draw of the show is that you're coming into this infinite universe. InfinityCon is its own like world. So so I think that answers the question.
Yeah, and Meow Wolf, like when we were talking about it earlier too, is something I definitely like. I get it. Like I get the correlation there. Phil, I think one of the things, to kind of David's point, one of the things we really like is it really is trying to be a immersive experience that invokes emotions. And I think that's really important when it comes to like this pop culture convention scene, because a lot of people really are connected to these franchises or these characters, and in a lot of ways the conventions that they go to as well. So Phil, I know that's something that you and I definitely share in that way.
Yeah, and I know we keep on bringing up MegaCon, and MegaCon, it's the big time, where people go there to meet those celebrities. Like I did that a couple of years ago when I met Kihi Kwan. Like that was just something I was like, yeah, I know I got to drive down there and do that. But getting the picture and getting to very briefly talk to him was great. But like, what I remember? Standing in line, like just waiting the whole time, and then not having enough time to walk the vendor floor in the artist alley, because by the time I got out of the line for my picture, there's only a couple hours left to walk around. So when we have gotten to work with these other shows, Eric, over the last few years, we remember somebody coming up to us about their first ever cosplay contest, or at an InfinityCon, we hear people talking about, a really fun event that they got to do, a new video game they got to play, and it's just very different. And that's why it's so important to let people know, like, there are other games out there. There are other conventions that you can go to. You don't have to spend all your time and go into just one. You can really, one of the goals we actually had in 2024, was it last year? It might have been 2023, 2024. Whenever the first time you and I met, David, when Corey introduced us, our goal that year was to go to one convention a month for the entire year. We did end up doing 12, but just not one a month. So, and it was just so... It was relatively easy to do because, like you said, there's so many shows throughout the state. We did one in Savannah, so they're accessible. You just have to know where to look, and then you'll have those experiences that you remember outside of standing in a line or being in a cramped space. Like they are out there, and InfinityCon is definitely one of those. As we get towards the game, like you mentioned a moment ago, Eric, I want to give you the time, David, because again, as Eric and I have worked with more of these shows, the person running it is also only as good as his team. And we have seen you very passionately talk about your team and recognize them. And I knew it was probably going to come up organically with you. So I just wanted to manufacture it and actually give you an opportunity to talk about your team and the people that are behind the scenes that have your back, because we got to work with them for the first time in Tallahassee, right, Eric? And they're awesome. So I just wanted to give you that time to spotlight them.
Yeah. Gosh, I always hate this because I'm going to leave somebody out. So I mean,
it's like an acceptance speech.
Right. I know, right? So Alex Hart is my assistant. She came on this year to really help, just kind of get some things put together in the back end, as I'm just always doing all the things. And again, this is a very lofty idea. So conceptually, there's a lot that I want to get done, and it's a lot. So Alex has come on for that. I do have Mr. Eric here helping out with some socials and doing some stuff as well. So that has been a big help. That is something that's one of the things that ends up getting put to the side until the event's almost here most of the time, just because that's the last thing I have time to work on, but I know it's important. So yeah, thanks, man. That's been super awesome. But then, so I have Lacey McCarthy, who is she's my Kids Con person, Isle of Wonder, but she also runs my, she's doing volunteers, so she's working on volunteers. We had another fellow podcaster, George, who was helping in Tallahassee doing my gaming. But George Sumter, sorry, George, if you're watching, but George Sumter also does the Gen X Grown Up podcast. He's with those guys, and he was helping me with gaming in that time. And then we have see, there it goes. Well, Martin Piero, my best bud, Martin Piero, he helps me with my vendors, helps me put the show on. I mean, he and I kind of go back to back working each other's shows. Actually, his show. He booked his show the week before my show, before I booked my show, and I kind of booked past his dates. So it's going to be a little bit of a marathon of 2 weeks of our shows. But so yeah, so we Martin does my vendors, like he's the one that's checking everybody in and making sure the vendors are okay, making sure they have a good experience, they want to come back, which is super awesome. Again, these are all people I can trust, and I know that can take care of things. If they're not sure about something, they're going to reach out to me. And then we have Chris, who is our facilities guy. It's Chris Stevenson, and Chris has been helping the last few years, kind of get probably since like 2016 or not 2016, 20. He was in Tallahassee, so yeah. But he's been helping facilities and set up and getting things going, along with the rest of the team that kind of has to jump in and make sure things work. Make sure my ideas happen, which is usually what ends up happening. And then we have, I'm trying to think of all my guys. Jeff Davis. So Jeff Davis has been helping in a few areas, but Jeffrey, him and his dad owned a comic book store over in Tallahassee for a while, the Bookshelf too. And now he's got another day gig, and he helps me with like the artists and the New Renaissance area, kind of putting that together. So Jeff is awesome. And then Sydney Lewis has been a volunteer for years. And Sydney, they've really come in and just done anything I've needed. And I'm having Sydney kind of take over, helping where needed, but also doing a lot of the VIP stuff. So making sure VIPs are taken care of. Making sure, maybe checking in with some of our sponsors and things like that. I brought in the Wellwood marketing this year, so they're a group that I've been working with. Todd Schreier is actually helping reach out to different sponsors and partners, and they'll be back again to help kind of make sure we keep those relationships going well and doing those kind of things. And their team will be back. I think that's everybody. And then my family, that's, half the year. My wife, is just kind of, they're always just when I'm, crumpled in a heap and having bad days and waiting on finances and trying to make stuff move forward. My wife, she's my best friend. She's there. Nina's, there to help me handle things. And then, my bonus parents, Oma and Papa, they're always there. My tall father-in-law, Danny, you guys know Papa, so he's always just making sure things work out with our whether it's the merch area or make sure people have what they need. I mean, he's taking care of things. And then my mom helps. My mom puts most of the lanyards together and packs the packets for like vendors packets and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it takes a village to keep my ideas moving forward for sure. And yeah, thank you, Phil, for bringing that up, because
Yeah, of
definitely have a
course.
great team keeping that going. And and to both you guys, not just Eric, but I mean, Phil, you were very helpful this year, like trying to get some things promoted and get things moving forward this year to help push InfinityCon out there and get more eyes on it. So, I appreciate that as well.
Now rank all those people in order of importance. So go.
Well, of course, you and Eric. I mean, you're up at the top, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I know. I kind of ended with
family.
Over family.
I was gonna say I kind of ended with my family. I probably should have started there, right? I should have started with my family.
Last.
Yeah,
That's for last. No, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. We love to hear that, and we're loving being a part of any successes that InfinityCon's going to have. I think it's a great vision. I know I speak for Phil in that. And kind of our final question before we get into a game, just to wrap it up with a little bit of fun. I do want to talk a little bit about, we've talked so much about the vision of InfinityCon, but the future is just ahead of us. Whether that's 2 years, 3, 5, 10, what do you, David, think about the future of InfinityCon? You don't have to get into specifics, because I know a lot of things are developing, but like if you were to look 5, 10, this is InfinityCon, so it has to last forever. But in the near future,
I know,
what
right?
do you hope is the future of InfinityCon? What would you hope if you had maybe to set a singular or just a couple goals for yourself? What would you like to see out of InfinityCon in the future?
Sure. So I'm going to start this. I almost mentioned this earlier. I'm going to start this by saying, the question where somebody's like, so you built this thing, like if somebody were to offer you $10 million tomorrow, would you take it? Like, would you sell it and just be done? Would you sell MegaCon, and just make it go? And my answer would be no. I have a vision. Like I know this is what God wants me to do. And I know this is like when I get set on a vision and what my path and my what I'm supposed to do, like I know I know it's never supposed to stop. I mean, I constantly have people when I'm going through hard times that are like, are you sure you're supposed to keep doing this? Like, this is a lot. Like you're not in a good place a lot of your life. And I'm like, no, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think going to now your question, the reason I would not take, I think my answer to somebody that would say, hey, here's $1 million, thinking what InfinityCon could be worth maybe. Take this today and leave. I would say, I'll counter you with, could you give me $500,000 and let me do my vision? Why don't you give me half of that and let me really create my vision? So what I foresee and what I'm working on, there's a company called Twisted Whisker Entertainment that has come along with me. They helped out in Tallahassee. That you got to see some of the start of them. They helped put up together some of the first parts of like the gaming theaters that we did in Tallahassee and things like that. They ran the stage. But they are a thematic design company. They work with a lot of haunts and more in the haunted house industry, but developing that. But they thematic design wise, they do theater, they do stage shows, they've done a little bit of everything, and they've worked with people from Universal and such. So the goal and the dream for me in moving, you're going to start seeing some of this in 2025. In Tallahassee is to really have this immersive experience that starts with these gateways. So each of the worlds we talked about today, the Abyss, the New Renaissance, they all have a story. They all have an actual world that I'm having artists create that will fit the look and feel of what that is. And the idea would be is these gateways take you to these different planets. They take you to these different worlds. And when you cross through the gateway, that's the world you're entering in. So the first kind of part of that would be creating these gateways. They're going to be 15 or so feet wide, 14, 15 foot tall, about 7 to 8 foot deep. So you're actually going to walk through and be able to have a little bit of interaction, have the feeling that you're actually going from one space to another, not just, I walk past a vendor pipe and drape, but like literally you're walking through into a new world. The first thing will be is pretty much working on one gate at a time. I hope to have 2 to 4 of those gates ready by Tallahassee. That may be a little lofty, we'll see. So again, more thematic design, more like you're going to a theme park, Comic-Con, you know. That would be the idea of going into that. The bigger idea would again be to finish out all the gateways, to kill the downlighting and actually control the look and the feel and the entire like the whole thing would feel like you're in another world. So when you enter into this infinite market, which would feel more like, you know, like a marketplace, like I'd like to theme that out a bit more, you know, marketplace feeling, which I mean, it's vendors and artists that it kind of already feels like that. You know, maybe even work on like, you know, the lights going between the vendors and that kind of stuff. Again, as we're thinking about, like, you got to make sure vendors have good light. You got to make sure. So as you're doing all this, I also have to make sure those things are taken care of. I can have thematic design, but if it's not functional, then it's not working. So yeah, so I think that's the goal. That's the movement. My goal is to take and flip the concept of we need guests as the draw. And for my convention specifically, I want to make InfinityCon and this thematic experience the draw. Like, I want people to say, what new thing has arrived at InfinityCon this year? And with these gateways and with this theme and with the stories, it's going to start out with my creation. It's going to start out with concepts and ideas that I have, and I'm going to write the stories. I'm going to fill the stories out. But I'm excited about how they can change, how other people's stories can intertwine with these. Whether we expound on the stories of the different worlds, of the Mystic Forest, of the Abyss, of New Renaissance, or whether we create whole, totally different worlds based on, you know, some other people that come into the, maybe other companies that say, if Bloomhouse comes in and says, hey, I want to create, you know, we want to create a something in the Abyss this year that is a you know, a Bloomhouse focused area, you know, who knows? Sky's the limit. I'm a squeak a wheel, if anything. So I will ask and I will say, hey, you want to be a part? Just we're here. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so that's what's in the pipeline. That is the vision I want to see, and I think will be where we start heading in 26. So
very awesome to hear. And of course, you know, just getting to see that vision play out is going to be such a joy. And I know, Phil, you're excited as well. For me, we just went to Epic Universe talking about theme parks, and they do like the portals.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can tell you right now, kids love that. As an adult, I also very much enjoyed that. So like getting to see your concept of gateways, but at the convention, you know, level, I think is going to be very great. But with all that being said, we've talked a lot about InfinityCon, about everything under the sun pop culture. So in that same vein, we are now going to play our game, and we are going to do a little pop culture Jeopardy. So you guys will
15
see
categories because Eric still can't.
Okay, it was necessary. So you both, gentlemen, will need your phones. If you are listening audio only, that is okay. I'll be saying the questions. We'll be going over the answers. There is a visual element if you'd like to switch over to our video portion on YouTube. But if you guys go to the website here or use the QR code, there'll be a code here or a pin to join the game. And Phil, I'm going to assume safely that you are the Mosasaurus.
that you would be correct. That is
so
that's correct, Alex. That's correct, Alex.
As well, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There should be 2 spots. You're going to have to select a character or an icon, avatar. Take your time. I do when it's my turn. But yeah, take your time. So we have our team set, Mosasaurus versus Broccoli tonight. We'll go ahead and begin our game. And you guys will see our categories are going to be based off of the worlds of InfinityCon.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's going to be a great time. Let me make sure that I have the ability to enter our final factile answer. And we should be good to go. We are going to go ahead and go across the board and play a little bit. I will tell you that I try to be mindful of difficulty. However, depending on your knowledge or lack of knowledge, it could be difficult. So I would challenge you guys to not focus so much on the dollar amounts and focus more on the categories. When we talk about the Forge, we are talking about things in cosplay, specifically characters in cosplay for this category. Limitless and Technotopia is going to focus on robots and gaming. The Abyss, everything horror. We're going to focus, I think, on movies in this category. Isle of Wonder, I specifically was looking for questions that anyone under the age of 10 could answer. New Renaissance is going to be everything regarding...
That's a dangerous assumption.
New Renaissance is going to be everything like comics and writing and literature. Mystic Forest, tabletop. So we've got our categories. David, you are going to control the board first. And whenever we open up the question, you're going to be responsible to buzz in as quickly as possible.
Well, don't spam it, remember?
Yep, so be careful to spam it before it shows up.
No, don't spam, remember? Because it will lock them out, yeah.
So
it'll lock me out.
When I read the question, the buzz button will appear. Once it lights up, you're ready to click buzz as quickly as you can. And you do not have to click buzz, but again, if you do, you got to give me an answer. Just like Jeopardy, points or no points. So, David, are you ready to go? Would you like to pick a category to kick us off?
I can. Do I have to do what is or who is?
No, you don't. No, we're not that picky.
Okay. I was like, how Jeopardy are we getting here?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Abyss for 400.
Okay, for 400. Alfred Hitchcock famously used this for blood in the iconic shower scene in Psycho, since it looked better in black and white.
Syrup.
All right, well,
Hershey syrup.
You gotta buzz in.
No, you did buzz in.
Oh, did he buzz in? Okay, cool.
Your
Well, that
answer,
was fast.
syrup? Yeah,
Hershey
that was
syrup,
fast.
Yeah.
All right, David. It was chocolate syrup. I will take
you know what?
syrup.
I'm used to hearing the buzz, but that's why I didn't hear it. I was like, okay.
Yep. All right.
I was ready.
Yeah.
David.
I'm in trouble.
David, where do you want to go?
Let's do the Abyss for 600. Ones I know. Maybe.
This iconic horror series is also one of the best-selling children's book series in history, with over 400 million copies sold. Phil.
Goosebumps?
It is
Yes,
Goosebumps.
I know. The name was right in my head, and it just didn't yeah. Nice.
All right, Phil, good job. Goosebumps, you control the board.
Let's do the Abyss 8.
This 1999 psychological horror film was made on a budget of around $600,000, but grossed nearly $250 million worldwide thanks to its viral marketing. Phil, you buzzed in first.
The Blair Witch Project.
The Blair Witch Project is correct.
I should have known that.
Phil, you have the board.
Let's do 200 first before we get to 1,000.
Okay. This title belongs to our favorite female survivors who outlive everyone else in a horror movie. Phil, I knew you had to get that because Philin would literally kill you.
I know. The final girl.
Yeah, I'll say Final Girl, yeah.
Final girl. All right. All right, David. Phil took the challenge. He doesn't want to play.
Oh,
All right,
man.
Phil, you want to go to 1,000 for the board?
Yeah, let's get to 1,000.
All right. This horror franchise is the only one to have 2 movies crack the top 10 highest grossing horror films of all time. I did figure this might pause you, but it is, in my opinion, very obvious.
I have 2 in mind, and I don't feel like risking $1,000.
I don't know. Risk reward. Remember, Phil, you usually
2.
crumble.
Okay, you didn't have to. Imagine if Alex Trebek was like, well, remember, you usually don't do well down the stretch.
All right. Last chance. Anybody want to buzz in? Anybody going to buzz? You got to buzz. Phil?
The Conjuring universe.
No.
No!
The Conjuring is the highest grossing franchise of all time, but only has the most recent film crack the top 10.
It's probably the other one. All right.
David.
Paranormal Activity? No. It's
Can I mean, I think I know what it is. What my other guess was going to be.
Well, you both got it wrong.
Oh.
It's it.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Well, that was not going to be my guess. I was going to go Final
Seriously?
Destination.
It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2 are both in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time.
Like
Yeah.
films,
Interesting.
period?
Yeah, like horror films. All
Or
time.
just horror, horror. Okay,
Just
but
horror,
it's the
okay.
same. Okay, but the same
Franchise.
franchise. I understand.
Yeah.
I was gonna go
yeah,
Final
that,
Destination. I thought it
that
would be
was
Final. Was
not
my
my
other
radar.
guess.
Because
No.
well, you said what was the first one? The Conjuring?
The Conjuring universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I know Paranormal Activity also did well. What's the newer one that just came out with the? Is that the Conjuring that has the couple that are that are?
Yeah.
The Warrens.
Okay, Insidious
Yep.
is the other one I was thinking of.
Yep.
But yeah, that new
All good
Paranormal
options.
I would not have gotten it.
was. Jeez, yeah,
Yeah.
no, never.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Good
That's
one there.
okay. Well, listen,
Eric.
we had a good mixture there. Yeah, that was a good mixture. Phil, you do technically still have control of the board. Where do you want to go?
Let's do Limitless and Technotopia for 2.
Daily
Oh!
double. All right. This show first aired in 2000 on Comedy Central and was inspired by the British show Robot Wars. Who's going to buzz in? One of you should know this.
BattleBots?
It is BattleBots.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I was like, it sounds like BattleBots, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It is
I didn't know it was
BattleBots.
Comedy Central. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where it started airing. David, you have control of the board. Where do you want to go?
Oh, I don't know. Let's do Isle of Wonder for 600.
All right, Isle of Wonder, 600. Gotta catch 'em all.
Oh, okay.
Pokemon.
Good job.
I
I just
it kept
unmuted.
saying,
I just unmuted instead of hitting the button.
well, it kept saying buzzer locked, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah.
if you try to click it too fast, it will lock you. So I watched both of you get locked at the same time, which is pretty hilarious. Yes, a 10-year-old would be able to answer that. So Isle of Wonder 600, that gives you an example. David, where do you want to go?
Isle of Wonder 800.
All right, this is gonna be fun. Are you the imposter? Phil.
Among Us.
Among Us. Very
See,
good.
Yeah, yep. I know
All right.
of Among Us. I should
Yep.
maybe know more about Among Us.
10-year-old
it's
would know.
imposter. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
10-year-old would know. Phil, where do you want to go?
Let's go Isle of Wonder 4.
Okay. Watch out for creepers and prepare for chicken jockey. Phil,
Minecraft.
Ah!
it is Minecraft. Buzz just
I knew-
before
I
David.
knew that one. I knew that one.
Phil, where you want to go?
Isle of Wonder 200. Yeah.
He lives in a pineapple under the sea.
But
No, I lost it somehow.
David, yes. Good job, SpongeBob SquarePants.
That was an easy 200 one.
That was. All right, David, you want to do 1,000?
Wait a second. Can kids 10 or under still do that? Like, know that if you tell them?
I think so. SpongeBob
You think
is
so?
still pretty. If you said it like he lives in a pineapple under the sea,
Yeah,
if you said it like that, I think they'd get it.
I think
They
it's
get
like opposite for us too, where the show is really popular. I think the movies are very popular with kids now,
Movies,
as opposed
yeah.
to the show. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
David, you want to do 1,000?
let's do Isle of Wonder for 1,000.
No job is too big. No pup is too small.
Paw Patrol.
David. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Would you not have gotten that, Phil?
Oh,
I had an idea with pup, but like
Yeah.
I didn't know what their tagline was.
Honestly, that's why I put it at
no
1,000 because I
pup too
wasn't
big, no
sure
dog
that you'd
too
get
strong.
Yeah.
Paw Patrol.
Exactly.
I have a
Mm.
3-year-old and a 6-year-old, so.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
lobbied
my
up
my
for,
daughter wasn't a Paw Patrol
David.
kid.
Yeah,
If it had been
yeah.
like Nihao Kailan or something like that, I would have nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All right.
become a lot of Paw Patrol now, so.
100%. David, you control the board.
All right. Let's do New Renaissance 600.
The Iliad and Odyssey are two major ancient Greek epic poems attributed to this author. Make sure you buzz in when you're
It's gonna
ready. Somebody's
so
got to get it.
Dumb
I
when
will-
I hear it.
I will tell you, it's a single name. It's a single word, single name. Phil.
Homer?
It is Homer.
Okay.
I was like,
Okay.
okay.
It is Homer. Very good.
I almost threw out like Play-Doh, and I was like, no, it's not Play-Doh. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Homer.
Homer, yep.
Like, I
Phil,
knew
you control
it's
the board. It was up there. No, we all
Yeah.
learned it. We all knew it.
Let's go to the Forge for 400.
Okay.
Jump around.
This commonly cosplayed video game character is known for her brown braid, dual pistols, and being a Tomb Raider. Phil.
Lara Croft.
Lara Croft is correct. Where do you want to go?
Forge for 600.
All right. This commonly cosplayed video game character is known for wearing dark armor, his white hair, and using 2 swords. David.
Witcher. The
Yes.
Witcher.
Oh,
Geralt from
Geralt.
The Witcher.
Geralt, the
Yep.
Witcher. Yeah.
All right. David, where do you want to go?
Let's keep going on the Forge. Do 800.
All right. It's getting competitive. This commonly cosplayed anime character is known for their green jumpsuit, black hair, and being very good at martial arts.
Well, I don't know the name of this character.
That's crazy. We went to a whole symphony, Phil.
Yeah, but I don't know the.
Your mother's birthday.
I'm gonna be honest. Until you said that, I thought it was from Ben 10. So I wasn't even thinking.
No.
Yeah, very good at martial arts. Yeah, not so much.
No.
Unless he's got a.
That's okay. If you don't know it, that's okay. Don't afford. You don't have to lose the points. But anybody want to buzz in? I'm gonna give it 5, 4. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Let's see the answer. Rock Lee.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten
Naruto.
No, Naruto. No, I don't even know how to say it.
Naruto. Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Naruto.
That'd be crazy. David, do you want to go back to the Forge? You still control the board.
Let's do 400 Limitless.
All right, Limitless 400. This character first appeared in the 1981 arcade game Donkey Kong, known as Jumpman. Phil?
Mario.
What's Mario? Very good. Phil, where do you want to go?
Let's keep going to 600. Limitless.
This legendary robot has a horizontal spinning blade that can spin at over 200 miles per hour. If you know anything about the robots from shows like BattleBots, this is the robot
What was the
you would
name?
know the name of.
Oh my gosh.
So if you do want to throw out a guess, it's probably that one. But you just got to remember what it is.
It's been so long since
I know.
I've watched that show.
When you see it, you
I'm
might
gonna be
get
so mad.
It's not like obvious in name, but when you hear it, you'll
Right.
know, like, yeah, that, of course that's what it is. I almost thought about putting this at the 1,000, but I wasn't confident. Now I regret it. Okay. We'll give it
I can picture the robot in my head too. I'm seeing
you
it.
see, yeah,
but
you know the look. You know
I
the
have
look.
no idea. I can't remember
Okay.
what the name is.
Give it
Yeah.
5, 4, 3,
Gravedigger.
1. No, it is Tombstone.
Tombstone.
No, yeah.
Tombstone. Classic fighting robot. Phil, where do you want to go?
Limitless for 800.
This arcade game was one of the first shooters to include a foot pedal for cover, making it feel more immersive and interactive.
Well, I hope this is right.
Phil,
Time Crisis?
that's a crazy get.
Let's
Good
go.
job, Time Crisis. I was literally like, I know for a fact we've played Time Crisis together.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say I don't think I ever played a lot of Time Crisis. I did a lot of like the what was the X? Well, of course, House of the Dead.
House of the
House of the
Dead.
Dead.
What was that X? The one that
and-
was the Rock one, the Rock shooter.
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
Whatever X.
I can't remember the name of it, but House of the Dead is the one I was expecting someone to say here. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of shocked.
I remember Time Crisis being the first one with that pedal because with House of the Dead you shoot off screen, but with the
Right.
with the pedal you would reload for Time Crisis.
Yep. Phil, where do you want to go?
Yeah, let's wrap up Limitless.
All right, Limitless 4000. This company used to be one of the biggest arcade game producers,
Yep.
but it officially left the arcade business in 2022 after over 50 years.
I have a guess, but not enough to risk $1,000.
Okay. I mean, you got space.
No, stop that.
Atari.
All right, David. Atari, no. Oh, that one hurt. That one hurt
Yeah.
to...
I mean,
Okay, well, I'm gonna guess
You swung
now.
for the fences. Phil.
Midway?
No, that would have been crazy if you got
Dang.
that.
Okay.
Sega.
Sega.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang it. Yeah. I was
Okay.
trying to think of one that kind of went out and now is even kind of coming back in.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because Atari kind of fell to the wayside. And now they're inching their way back.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. No, they just left. They were like, no more.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, you still control the board.
Let's. We haven't done Mystic Forest yet. Let's go Mystic Forest 400.
400, okay. What are the two most expensive properties in Monopoly?
I don't remember.
Phil?
Broadway and Park Place.
That is correct.
Let's go.
Boardwalk.
I said Broadway though.
Did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't.
I
I'm
was
not
thinking
gonna-
Park Place, but I
What was that?
couldn't
Yeah.
remember what the
I'm
other.
going
did
to
say
give
Broadway.
you 200.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 200 for that.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't say Boardwalk. I'm a man of integrity here.
I heard B and my brain was
yeah,
like,
yeah. Yep, that was it.
Well, I was
All right,
thinking, I was
Phil.
thinking Park Place, but I couldn't remember quite the
Yeah,
other.
Broadway.
Yeah,
Boardwalk.
Broadway.
Yeah, close,
Yeah.
close.
Broadway.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Phil,
Mystic Forest 2. Let's go in the other way, just in case.
you guys really hate those twos. Daily
Woo!
double.
Another daily double.
Hey.
Crazy daily double. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma are core ability scores used in this famous tabletop game. Phil,
D&D.
Dungeons and Dragons is correct. All right. You control the board.
Let's do New Renaissance for 2.
What three colors are considered primary colors in art? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I was pretty confident I put this one at 200.
What, 3 colors?
Yeah, there's 3 primary colors in art. What are those 3 colors? Phil?
RGB, red, green, blue.
No. David.
Red, yellow, blue.
It's yellow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it called
Yeah.
RGB?
I don't know. I double checked that
That's
answer.
gaming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true. All right, David, you're back in control of the board here.
Hey, let's do that 400 New Renaissance.
Okay. This storytelling medium requires you to read the pages and panels from right to left. Phil.
It wouldn't
Manga.
go. It wouldn't go.
That is correct. Phil, you're back in control.
Mystic Forest 600.
Okay. This chess piece is limited to diagonal movement and cannot jump over other pieces. Phil.
Oh.
not you not letting me finish before you were just like, oh, I guess I'm gonna
Sit here
I
and
guess I'm
relax.
gonna do something else.
I saw chess and I was like, nope, not me.
Okay. Wow. Lack of confidence here. Okay.
What's
Not
the
even
horse?
like a thought.
Horsey.
All right. No, it is
the grand mage.
bishop.
nope, a bishop.
No.
Bishop.
Yeah. What is Sorcerer Supreme?
Phil, you have control of the board.
Let's go to Forge for 200.
Okay, final 200. This commonly cosplayed superhero is known for his red suit, katanas, and breaking the fourth wall. David.
Deadpool.
That is correct. Deadpool.
Your pool.
You're back in control,
Mr.
David. Where you
Pool.
want to go?
Let's do the Forge for 1,000.
Forge for 1,000, completing that category.
Do it.
This commonly cosplayed anime character wears a straw hat, red vest, and will one day become King of the Pirates. I hate that you're... I'm not going to let you answer, possibly, Phil. And I'm going to let you know now, I want the full name.
What?
I want it. Do you have the partial?
Luffy,
Okay, I need his full name.
the pirate.
Okay, see, I would have known the name
I'm
Luffy,
lightheaded.
but it's barely.
Okay, so Phil, I'm gonna
That's
mark
what do
down.
you mean?
David, do you want to buzz in and guess?
No, I don't. I know the name Luffy, but that's like the most of what
That's
I
fair.
would know.
That's
Yeah.
understandable. That's okay. Yeah, that's save the points. Monkey D. Luffy. So
Oh,
Phil,
See, you didn't even
you
pronounce his
remember
name
it.
right.
You remember it.
No,
and,
it's not important. It's not going to come up again.
David, you're back in control. Where do you want to go? All right, New Renaissance 1000. What is the term for the white space between comic panels? Mm-hmm. It's got a name. It's a term.
Should know this.
I did not. Botter would be so disappointed in us.
I'm gonna hear it and I'm gonna be like, ugh, but I can't.
I love how we had the
The
opportunity
white-
to give something like this to Botter, and we didn't do it. So.
Between the comic.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's a term. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. The answer is gutters.
I did not know that.
No
They're
clue.
called gutters. Yeah.
Interesting.
The more you know. David,
Now I know. Oh, that was
still
for
a close
1,000.
It was for
Okay.
1,000. That's true. It is still very close. Three spots left. Where do you want to go?
Okay, let's do that 1,000 Mystic Forest.
All right. What are the
Ugh.
2 highest scoring letters in Scrabble? There are 2 of them. What is it? I will make things interesting. If you can give me one, I will give you 500 points. Okay, David.
Z.
Z is one of them.
Okay.
So let me
Oh, I was
and
going to guess Q.
Q.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
so
I
let me
knew
take off
Z.
500.
I knew Z was a higher one.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So I forgot I could only do it in certain increments, so I'm going to give you 6 for that. There you go.
Oh, no,
All right.
oh, because there's
Oh.
200,
200
400.
increments, yeah. All right. So you got 600 for that, David. Great
All
job.
right.
Where do you want to go?
New Renaissance 800.
All right. An object or goal that drives the plot, but is often unimportant by itself, is often referred to as what?
I was in the button, but I don't think that's it.
So if there's an object or goal that's driving the plot, but it's often unimportant by itself, typically someone might refer to that as what? It would be a what? I know for a fact one of you know it, but I know
Well, it
there's
must
no
not be
confidence.
me.
It's
I just
close.
don't want to risk it.
I know
It's
tough. It's tough. This is where the risks either pay off or hurt you. I'm gonna count
Really?
down. 5, 4, 3, 2. Phil?
Plot device.
Oh, that's no.
No!
I was gonna say that.
Not a plot device. There's a specific name. It's very specific. It is very identifiable. You know this, David. What do they call it? They call it a what? Think of your favorite movie where there's something that
Okay,
drives
now
the
you're...
plot.
No, hold on a second.
It's often unimportant. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of there.
We're past time.
Yeah, we are past time.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right. It's called a MacGuffin.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have gotten
I
that.
don't really think of that word very often. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think.
That's
I
understandable.
was thinking like a plot twist,
Mhm.
like a.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
No, that's
MacGuffin.
okay. That's okay. Phil, I did entice Phil enough to do
a
it.
plot hole.
Plot
Right.
hole, yeah. Yeah. All right. We're going to do our final category, Mystic Forest 800.
All right.
The object of this game is to form a row of 5 poker chips on the board without table talk between team members. This question was specifically for Phil. What is it?
It's sequence.
It's sequence.
Oh, I did not know that one.
Yes.
It is sequence. That is a board game we love. And we reference. We love sequence. Phil, talk about sequence for a minute.
Sequence is a fantastic game. Another one of the reasons we love it so much is you have to play quietly, so no one can really yell. So it's a lot of fun, and it relies on you and your partner being on the same page. So it requires a lot of strategy. It's a lot of fun.
Very funny.
Very cool.
All right. Before the final question pops up and you guys will enter your answers, you must make a wager. You can wager some, you can wager all, but you must make a wager. So both of you guys will make a wager. What do you want to wager? I think it lets you do it on your end, right, Phil?
Yeah, you can put it down on the phone.
Yep. Yeah, it should let you select it. So you can go all or nothing. You could go nothing, I guess technically is an option. Yeah, so pick your amount. Phil has wagered. All right, you've both wagered. Power, mind, time, space, reality, and soul make up these iconic items.
Are we supposed to buzz in, or do we type?
Do you enter in your answer?
It says wait for the winner.
See.
Oh.
Wait.
You're supposed to be able to type it. Let me check.
Mine gives me a place to enter.
Yeah, does it? All right, well, David, you enter yours in, and then I'll make Phil verbally give it. But if it lets you enter
yeah,
in,
it just says wait for the winner.
Weird. I don't know why I'd have a message. Phil, text me. Phil, message me the answer in Discord. But David, you have a spot to actually type in an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says I can see your answer. That's super weird. Okay. All right. So I've got both of your answers. David, Infinity Stones is correct. Phil also said Infinity Stones. And that is our answer. Now it's going to depend on who wagered and what you wagered. Woo. And Phil did wager it all and has won.
I did too.
By just the littlest amount. Congratulations, Phil.
David, you wagered it all. I wagered just enough to be ahead of you in case I got it right. In case we both got it right.
Yeah, I wagered all the whole 2,200.
Yeah.
Yeah, by 200.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dang.
That's a crazy pull.
Fun.
But that was Pop Culture Jeopardy. That went way better than last time, Phil. I think I've cracked it.
Yes. No, it takes some time. Factile is it's a fickle tool, but it's very fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Oh, we had a lot of fun. But David, thank you so much for entertaining us with that game, talking about Infinity Con, and I know we really appreciate it. Phil, I'll let you kind of wrap it on up here as we get David to the end of this episode.
Yeah, David, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us about your journey and also just kind of nerding out with us. We very much appreciate it. Cannot wait to see you and the team in just about 30 days from the time of recording. This episode will be out at the end of October. So please let everybody know this will be one of the last things they hear in the couple weeks leading to InfinityCon. One more time, let people know about InfinityCon Gainesville. And then, of course, if you want to go into InfinityCon Tally in 2026, you can. But yeah, let everybody know where they can find us or find you and where they can go to support InfinityCon.
Yeah, InfinityCon Gainesville will be at the Alachua County Sports and Event Center on November 15th and 16th. And we will be there both days. And you can go to infinitycon.com/Gainesville or just infinitycon.com. We'll send you there. And we look forward to seeing you guys there. The Wait For It podcast will be there. And we're excited to have technically year 2 of InfinityCon Gainesville sans hurricanes. So yes,
it has been it has been a lot of knock on wood with how the hurricane season has been going.
Yeah. Now
fingers crossed.
I wanted to ask you, David, actually really quick. It's kind of funny because this popped up recently, and we have a group of friends of vendors and artists, and we were talking about Tallahassee in general. We were talking about InfinityCon, and Pedro's Tacos and Tequila Bar came up. just naturally, because me and Eric and Corey went there right before the night before Infinity Con Tallahassee, and they also, this group of friends also knew of Pedro, so I was just curious if that's a really popular restaurant amongst your group as well, because I had a meal there that's haunting me, so and I can't wait to go back.
Oh man, so I am unfortunately one of the only, like, I think most people are okay, but like I'm one of the ones that like is going to want to go to a Mexican place like all the time. Martin Pierre will not usually eat with me in a Mexican place. So yeah, so it is very good and I love it. But yeah, we have not been that often.
This podcast is not sponsored by Pedro's, just so you guys know.
No,
I just wanted to.
but, yeah.
I just wanted to know if it correct.
One day.
One day.
One
But it
day
could
we're
be.
gonna
Taco
do
stand. Hey, Pedro's taco stand at
in
Infinity
Ocala.
Con.
Tony's in Ocala, Pedro's in Tallahassee. David, I know it's only year 2 in Gainesville, but is there a Pedro's like level place at Gainesville? Because me and Phil were also talking about
what
where
are we
we're gonna go to eat.
So we don't just end up at Dave & Buster's across the street. We want to go somewhere,
We also want to go to Dave & Buster's, who's one of the sponsors. But
Right.
No, Dave & Buster's has been super awesome. Kendrick, the GM, is amazing. But yeah, there's Dave & Buster's. But man, there's so much chain stuff there. Like thinking about like a local place that like grabs my attention. I mean, there's a lot of great breweries. There's Swamp Head and there's stuff like that. And there's like some great food trucks. But I'll have to get back to you guys. Like there's the problem is like the venue is in a great spot as far as like location to like the interstate, but all the cool kind of fun stuff, like local stuff is downtown, which is like 4 or 5 miles away. So like near UF, there's like the Top. Oh my gosh, the Top it's a burger place and it's fantastic. The Top, if you want to sponsor my eating and drinking habit, I would be very okay with that. But yeah, the Top is amazing. There's a Mexican place downtown in the Sun Center there that's also really good near the Top. But yeah, there's a few Lucy's is like a bar and pub that has some cool stuff. But yeah, the Top, I mean, I guess like something for like dinner stuff. They're usually packed and they have great burgers and so that's a good place. But
there we go. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a good start. That's a good start. So Phil, we got to make our reservations to the Top, but
yes,
make sure to buy your tickets to Infinity Con Gainesville. David, thank you so much for jumping on for this episode. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Phil, as we wrap up this episode, if you want to take us into the home stretch, we'll see everybody in Gainesville in November.
Yeah, everybody, thanks so much for joining us, and everything you need regarding the Wait For It podcast, as well as Infinity Con, is going to be in the show notes of this episode, so make sure you click that. If you want to keep up with us, of course, click that link tree, follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, join our growing Discord community, follow us on Twitch, where we stream each and every single week, and of course, if you're over on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. For those of you that are listening on your favorite podcast player, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. It's one of the best ways you can help support the show. And if you find yourself wanting to follow also Eric and I on our personal pages as we navigate our content creation and voiceover, voice actor journeys, that would be very much appreciated as well. But you can talk to us in person at InfinityCon in just a couple of weeks, so we hope to see you there. But if you find yourself wanting to get some of these episodes a little bit earlier, as well as having a hand in the content that we release, Eric will let you know a little bit more about that before wrapping us up.
Yeah, so on Patreon, it is an additional incentive for you, and you're able to get extra stuff from the show. Supporters are currently getting behind the scenes and early access to episodes like this one, and October wrapped up Patreon month, where our patrons, Briar, T3 Kato, Vintage Macaroni, Corey from The World Is My Burrito, Nick Casbaro, the author of the Vitellarium series, and Botter from the Short Box podcast, all had a hand in several episodes that we did this month. So if you want to be a part of that community, please join our growing Patreon. If not, all the free stuff that only takes a moment of your time is very much appreciated and honestly means the world. With all that being said, my name is Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host, Phil the Filipino, and our guest, David from Infinity Con. Please remember, for the podcast, we release new episodes every Wednesday, and all you got to do is wait for it.
This is the Wait For It podcast.